Sajati Sefo, Walagasha.
Abarekisa monna amonatali kutaka di 18 ubata pasha London Samuels kuletea wala Samuels abareka mutelle kobe gore pa boti bongode Mohamed tele mosebane mabedi le borobongwe London Samuels
kana ngena ukhuma Mutibani siboneke manje ulisa phambili lihle kakhulu akasiboneke uzama ukuyisondela lapha izolithini lapha Sajati Sefo Walagasha. Hayilalela hayilalela kunephasi emnandi ngendlela
Loose to set up a teammate. A ball sent high. And they still have it. Rushed again. And now the opportunity comes. Shot comes in into the back of the net. And all the way. It is Makesta. What an absolute beautiful finish there by the Highlands Park number 5.
Well, hello and welcome to Football on 216, and of course an exciting episode where we talk all things football development. As you can see, new captain in town, wreathed in red, but the lineup still remains the same. It is the Lebzican Wave. Defensively up front, it is Mr. Kating Katang, Ura, and of course the male bestie himself, securing midfield in Usfisoguhle Msimango. Good evening, gentlemen.
Ya bona nkong condens ala ke nna go morago ke nna ke tshwereng dikgang go morago mo gare mo la re tshwere fa eso go pele ke ora
ya ngi-engine mfana yazi ngaphandle engine imonto ayinyakazi
wa itse ka mona re kgagola letloa fela re tsa gona le gore o tsa ba bo slaver ba laisa ba thatha zonke
Well, Tata Zonke, exactly, and that's exactly what this weekend had. We had pretty exciting fixtures, and of course Saturday, Mamelodi Sundowns taking on TS Galaxy, dominating all fixtures. And one other thing that really just took the fore is the encounter against, between Tugs as well as Catharis. Tugs dominating a couple of times, but I think it was an equally balanced side because Catharis also managed to get themselves a victory in the under-17 fixture. But of course, Sfisoguhle, yesterday's fixtures as well as our results.
Okay, sambeke sikubhekele laphana kakhulukazi izolo ukuthi kwenzakaleni njengoba besilaphana the Lions of the North. Sikubingelela sikwamukele Football on 216. Sibonile ke laphana ama under 13 ayo ke laphana Highlands Park lapha wine khona 2-1. Sihamba sakubona ama under 15 lapho Highlands Park futhi yaphinda ayiwinela 4-0 kanti ke ama under 17 lo umdlalo loyo sizazokhuluma ngawo lapho ke sibone khona 1-1 laphana phakathi kwayo Highlands Park nezenkosi Jomo Cosmos. Kanti ke sihamba sawubona you wanna chill with the big boys yona ama under 19 2-1 wineke lapha eHighlands Park okusho khona ukuthi Highlands Park icoshela ama-point angaki awu-10 wonke lemidlalo yayizolo ilezo nezinye second 20 sokhuluma ngakho konke Football on 216 danko.
Well, he said it perfectly. Game under 17 was quite alarming there between both Highlands Park as well as Jomo Cosmos. And I say this to you, Lebzican Wave, because you were at the fore, you were in commentary, and you saw everything play together with Usfisoguhle. And I think we need to start from the under 15 where Usfiso, I remember in commentary, emphasized the circumference of the ball going in. Usfiso, take us through that moment. They will be down.
Ngishaya English izolo. Iyasho yazi ezinye izinto mawuyibheke ebholeni kakhulukazi kwisiZulu azikho. Yabona the circumference. So sibonile ke laphana chip up chip usuka laphana esandleni sokunxele kwa left uthi uya square and then kwenzeka ibhola la ngena goalkeeper lifaka phakathi laphana besinganakile ukuthi lingenile noma yini kodwa into engiyibonile uref laphana be spot on ucoach kuyasibuza wathi asinayo goal line technology so sazi kanjani but mina ngibona ngathi be spot on Jensen angazi kini
very spot on because ibile ga hesitate le go super khwele ko khubunya le bala kuna le gaming go gape re kile ra etsa go etsa very same thing referee le ga hesitate he pointed ko center line ko centering spot on tsantse re ba tlotlomatse mo ileng gore ba dira tiro entle gona gonne go kile ga nna le menyenyetsi mo mafaratlhatlheng gore no ba referee ba rona ba Gauteng Development League ikete ga ba itekana mme fela mo letsatsing la mabane decision e leng gore we editse ntle spot on I hesitate the whole circumference
Circumference.
tanda ke go morago ra se yo litira di teacher me ntse la ke a dumela ke na le go bua bona Sfiso ke ra aga mo kgoleng edina fela gompieno ke tla ke pukile ra aga yes ba re gompieno ke tla ke tsweng ditlhobolo tsa la ka gonne go sengwe se le re ke se bone bona gaetse mo ke itlo kgabaganyetsa ko under 70 re tla bua ka yone fela gompieno ke a dumela spot on noele ke yone o tsene ka no mogare ke a itumela ka gore ha nna le dipelaelo ile a supa go khubunya le bala ka gonne ke nne fela under 17 re tlo go bua ka yone gaetse dia.
Oh, definitely. I think the under-17 fixture was the one that raised eyebrows, not just for us who were, of course, pitch side and you guys in commentary, but I think overall, including the ambience, you know, the crowd started roaring at some of the calls that the referee made. And I want to speak specifically with the 4 penalties that happened just before halftime even.
a ke itse first no batla go simolola pele
uyabona mina into engizokutshela yona ikakhulukazi njengoba uchaza wena Kama ukuthi i-crowd so i-crowd injena mfethu i-crowd iyabona if urefu indecisive and then ifuna ukumthathela iy'nqumo so laphana urefu i-crowd bise ngisho enza into right bisithi urefu yazizokhona urefu be-indecisive oqala igoli lokuqala lingenile ne umuntu belibambe ngesandla but then wabona ukuthi lingenile so walikhomba esenta mina ngithi sadansi safe hayi urefu wabuyisela kwi-penalty then urefu walibuyisela kwi-penalty yabona first thing ama-fans ngaphandle yabona ukuthi urefu wenzani indecisive so from there bafuna ukumrefisa so 4 penalties awanikeze wona asazi ukuthi kwenzakaleni.
But then do you think, I mean, if the crowd is roaring and we are looking at, we're all watching the same game, and if the referee is being indecisive on one single penalty, it raises eyebrows for the next pieces of play. So I think the crowd also felt that they need to protect their own, especially the players of Jomo Cosmos, because they were playing on a different ground, so they need to constantly assure that their players are well, in good spirits on pitch, but also for Highlands Park, they needed to maintain their lead that they had gotten across all the other divisions under 13 as well as under 15, continuing a seamless encounter for them. But I think for me, the refereeing was perhaps alarming in a sense that if everyone is synonymous in one voice to say, but ref, maybe not that decision, then are we really developing? And with development comes improvement. And that, I think, is the big question for me. Are we really improving in terms of refereeing? And this is a conversation that, unfortunately or fortunately, we need to have because at the end of the day, these are young players, these are real leagues, and at the end of the day, at the last day of GDL, one has to come out tops.
wa bona wena ka mo re bue ka referee ma bana ha ne ke sa itumela under 17 ke bone go na le penalty e leng gore referee o fane ka yone mme ga re bua ka advantage molao wa reng wa re referee o dumelletswe gore ka fana ka advantage mo team e le gore ya tlhasela ka jalo fane ka yone ya ba ya nosa Highlands Park a fetsa Jomo Cosmos a fetsa go nosa a etsa eng a re ke penalty ka jalo ga wa letlela ke advantage ke gore batla go bona go go diragala eng ha ile gore na e fositse kgwelele ke gore na tla re eng penalty fela o inusa tla fetsa go inosa o isupa go moloreng gape ha na fositse mo bona go diragala ka gona Sfiso o buile re di supporter ne di le tene di lwana le tsone maabane ha ile gore Noele na sa inosa penalty no go diragala ka gona ka o le motsereganye ke maikarabelo a ga go netefatsa gore motshameko o tsamaisa ka tsela ka gore lebeletse wena and how did advantage in Salake did advantage o lebele go tlo go diragala the outcome akere he ba no sa ba tlogele supa go khubunga lebala e se go ra ba etsa go nosa you come back and then wa re penalty ha nke be first mole go na go diragala
sengwe gape se nka tlatsang ka sone Leipzig Unifi segolo ba thusa ba tsereganye gonne mo metshamekong e le mentsi ke na le go lebella ba thusa ba tsereganye ke mo lebella gore ga o supa gore kgwele ke offside wa be o eme fo kae mo moleng wa gago gona no e noleng ele ya under 15 ga o ka lebella mo thusa mo tsereganye o na eme sentle go kutlo o kgonne go bona line gore no kgwele e gabagantse ke ka mo boneng gore ba dumellane ka bongwe gore kgwele eo a nneng a isupiwe ko center line ke nno mme fela ga motsereganyi mo thusa motsereganyi a ka tsamaya a salla ko morago o tlo nna le bothata gore referee le yone e tlo nna le impact that e nna le impact e tona thata mo motshamekong.
So I guess it's important then for all referees, both linesmen as well as the official ref, to be in one spirit and have one vision and one mandate. So that is to give us clean and class football because ideally it also causes a bit of a division or it makes it seem as though the commentators don't know their work because you're going to shout the first thing that you see and what the referees is saying, and for the viewers at home, they're bound to judge that maybe you don't know your job as a commentator, but essentially it is the referee's fault that comes into this. And I think the one thing that we don't understand is that the psychological part rather that comes with these wrong calls because it is the players that are playing and giving us their hard blood and sweat, and if they're not going to get the rewards that they came into pitch looking for, then again, yes, ria aga, but we need to be positive and we need to have, yes, we need to know what we are doing to ensure that they also know the rules of the game growing up, of course, into the bigger and grander stages.
And go le motsereganyi ke tshepa o tshwantse o tse taolo ya motshameko ga wa tshwanela utlwa ka batho ba go bolelela gore ga o ka dira phoso dira gore the comeback e nne e leng gore e strong thata you know gore o etsa eng ke ratile mafoko a go ka mo ga gore ra aga re batla go bona progress
Yes.
a go thusa gore ra aga ntse re boela ko morago ra aga re boela morago pele ga motshameko wa Highlands Park mo bekeng tse tharo tse di fetileng Safa ne ena le workshop le batsereganyi ba Gauteng development so gore le nna jaaka Leipzig Kenwe ke tlhaga ke hupile tedi gonne ne re ntshitse topic ko #football_on216 ra mogetse melaetsa e mentsi ya bakatisi le gore ga ba itumela ne re le ka go e baakanya kgwele gore no re nnile le workshop ya Gauteng development referees a re ba feng tšhono re bone gore go tla ya pele mme fela morago ga workshop mo motshamekong wa maabane bona nka re boela morago man
ya mina mhlambe into mhlambe ngaphambi nje sivale lento le into mina ngithanda ukisho ne ngiyazi ngihlale ngisho izinto ezithe ukuthi but yena into enzoyisho babona mawuref mfethu mawuref i-decision oyenzile noma bethu uyayibona wrong stand your ground bonakala because nama fans ngisho ukuthi wrong kanjani ngeke azavela athi but then uref asikhulumeni iqiniso bafethu la ama penalty amaningi abe spot on be correct ama penalty wonke bekuyiwo kade babamba ngesandla but then the problem ukuthi ubengekho sure ngawo so ama fans yabona ukuthi akekho sure singamjudgisa so wena stand your ground even if i wrong decision oyenzini but ba sure ukuthi uyama lapha kubonakala ngathi right.
And I think for me, Sfisana, I like your point. You need to be very assertive as a ref, but you also need to be mindful of every other piece of play because in as much as he called 4 accurate penalties, he also missed a lot of handballs that happened inside the 18-yard. So if you're going to give a penalty based on a handball or based on an obstruction that happened in the 18-yard, you need to be also aware because as soon as it hits that 3 meter going into the post, you need to be very alert as a referee. So I guess, like you said, Ora, the SAFA development for referees also needs to take account. But like I said, Ria Aha, and this is exactly what we're here for. But one player that we have to discuss and that has certainly made his mark is Aphiwe Buthelezi, who now trains with Bayern Munich and one of our own right here on Super Sports Schools together with Amazulu. So I'm very pleased with that. And your thoughts, please.
Ntsala ke wa bona ke itumetsa ke utlwa dikgang tsa gore Aphiwe wa tsamaya wa ya go Germany wa go ikatisa le setlhopha sa Bayern Munich ka jalo go a bonala gore kgwele rona ka kwano re etsela go godimo thata. I mean wa bona gore le ka bana le tshamekile kwa Amazulu from Amazulu le beletse gore a e kae le beletse gore a go Sundowns Chiefs or Pirates akere fela o ya go moseja ka jalo ra itumela bana ka mo gore wa gore tsa arbe mo mmepe.
Oh, certainly. Our very own, and I remember when Percy Tau also had an opportunity to play, you know, you're looking at Stephen Pienaar and our very own Benny McCarthy, who now, of course, is one of the coaching staff for Manchester United. And this is exactly what you want. You need to see development past South African grounds to say that we are also able to compete with the Xavi Simons of the world, with Ansu Fati and Yamal. And if he gets the right development at Bayern Munich, he could be our very own man versus machine, Lewandowski.
So, into nje mina ngayisho ngithi uSuthu hebe but into ngibonile siwenzile amaZulu siyakhumbula ilaphana kwi-engine champ of champ abekhona berepresenta laphana eKZN ibhola lawo limnandi kakhulu mfethu ibhola lawo uyabona ngendlela abadlala ngayo bakhona abafana futhi abasazohamba if leyo mhlawumbe relationship ezoqhubeka mhlawumbe le team le mayibona ukuthi kanje mhlawumbe okay amaZulu anama player amnandi kanje if relationship ezoqhubeka maningi ama player asazohamba lapha silenzile uSuthu baningi ama player bekhona ujersey number 10 wayemfishane waMadrid laphana kwi-engine champ of champ bantswempu kakhulu mina into engayisho le.
So gape ke bona e le gore seo se bula ditsela gape for batshameki ba tswang go di-academy di tshwana le bo Resa ba tshwana le bo Randburg ga bana di-feeder team tsa gore ga tswa mo setlhopheng sa under 19 a feleletsa go tshameka go GDN o tla ya go DDC kgotsa ya go PSL team seo se ba bulela ditsela le di-tournament tse e leng gore bo Amatax ba tsamaya ba ya ko tsone le bone bo Randburg ra itse gore ba ya Belgium ka September di-tournament tse di yalo tshwanetse ba di tseye serious gore ke tsone di tlo ba bulelang ditsela gore ba kgone ba iphitlhele ba le ko moseja.
And I think, if anything, this speaks to the development then of South African football. If we are at a point where we can get international relationships, that is good because I think 10 years from now, of course, we had the likes of Junior Kanyo who were like peaking, perhaps not even 10 years, because then Opa Manyesa, I mean, I'm exposing my age here a bit, but maybe Opa Manyesa then was at his peak. And if you look at that much talent that the Ace and the Decos had, and now you're looking at Aphiwe Buthelezi, you're looking at Messi, like we spoke about in the under-17s, and we are truly in the right place as South African sport generally, because across all sporting codes, rugby we dominate, netball we dominate, and of course football, which is why we're here. And that's exactly, I think we've exhausted the excitement of our national team, and with these upcoming stars that are being promoted and being nurtured right here in GDL, I can safely say that our future is pretty much in safe hands.
ditlhopha tsa rona tsa bosetšhaba go tswa ko tlase kwa letlhele re bua gore under 17 ya rona ba ile Colombia ba tshamekile ba bone maitemogelo ga ba tlo fitlha mo nakong ya gore ba re represent as naga ba nne ko the first national team ya rona e leng Bafana Bafana tlabe ba setse ba siame ra bona le makgarejwana ba fetsa go wina ka fa Tanzania ka fa le bone wa bona gore go tla sentle yaanong ke tshepa ile gore bo refile jane bo tempi kgatlhane ba fetsa yaanong nako ya bona e gaufi le gore ye go bokhutlong makgarejwana ba batlang ka fa tlase ka ra ka nna le tshepo ya gore ba tla tsa ba tsholetse fo ile gore bo tempi ba tle ba tlogetse teng.
Okay, but now let's look at one of the most leading teams, especially in the Gauteng Development League, which is exactly why we're here, but also in the bigger leagues, Mamelodi Sundowns. Are they stoppable? Because in their encounter against TS Galaxy, they pretty much walked away victors. What would it take for the other teams to get to perhaps that level of dominance across all divisions? Because, I mean, GDL is a younger division. They're dominating the DSTV Prim. And based on what you guys have observed in commentary and perhaps in overall interactions with the coaching staff and some of the players, what is that distinction between them as well as other teams, if there is any?
Rotlhe ra itse fano wena ka mo jaaka no tlholo wa go tsama go dira le rona gore Mamelodi Sundowns Kaizer Chiefs tlhobateng re di popota thata ko under 13 re simole ko fatshe ha e se ba latlhegile ke bua ka Kaizer Chiefs go tlhelele Sundowns ya tla ntsala ke ya tla fela ya itse le gore Chiefs e tlhomile go pele ka jalo Sundowns go nna monata go na le competition e go ra itse gore ha gona gore go tlo go wina team e tshwantse ba tlo go lwana pele ka jalo Mamelodi Sundowns yes o bua nnete ba tshameka sentle ke bone le under 15 ku TS Galaxy ntsala ke re ba latlhegetse wena fa eso
so enye into futhi emele sichaze lapha nekakhulukazi ngiyazi uma sizokhuluma ngedivision kanjalo mhlawumbe i-development ye-Sundowns sobheka ama-players asibhekeni nabo coach laphana uyayilwela laphana indawo yakho Mamelodi Sundowns so ngicanga ukuthi ama-team akanjalo mhlawumbe like mawazi ukuthi ngiwucoach nami lana ngadliwa lana khona umuntu ongathatha space sami ngizokwazi ukuthi ngisebenze wena and then okunye futhi esikubonayo nepassion iyakhuluma besinolunga nobela sisakhuluma ngayo Mamelodi Sundowns ubonile ngendlela ayithanda ngayo lezi ntwana lezi and futhi mawubheka lapha nekakhulukazi ama-under 15 under 17 alokho wina kanje.
Well, I like what you said. You know, there's that healthy competition between themselves as well as Kaizer Chiefs. And I think Highlands Park as well, you know, they're doing well, especially in the under-19 division. They played exceptionally well yesterday. In fact, in the post-match with Undogozo Moyo, he did say that the coaches told them that they were out of rhythm, and it's all about getting that mentality going. Because I think once your mentality is in the right place, then you are bound to happen. But of course, we will be joined by Mamelodi Sundowns Highlands Park General Manager, and he will then perhaps unpack everything for us. But I think for now, we can all synonymously agree that the GDL is pretty much in safe hands, and it's peaking far better than previous seasons, of course.
a go ntse fela jalo bona ka mo ebile o buile ka motshameko o reng aphiwe ke na le motshameko Emel Vet Boy pele re tsere garela gaetsedi am Emel Vet Boy ke mmone ko engine knockout challenge gaetsedi yaka o gapile midfield of the tournament o gapile gape play of the tournament Emel Vet Boy re mmone ko School of Excellence pele a tsamaya go Cape Town City
Yabona mawumnandi umjida mnandi kakhulu from School of Excellence to Cape Town City and bebonakala tholile lapha na midfield of the season of the tournament njalo kwi-engine ne-player of the tournament ngendlela adlala ngayo yazi ngithema ngimbona bengifisa ukubona i-Cape Town City iza champ of champs mara siyabona-ke Stellenbosch futhi siyabuya sizo-defend i-champ of champions
ne ke ratile go ka bona toro e nang le yone le nna ne ke ratile go bona ga ke bona maabane gore Stellenbosch se ya le Cape Town City ko makgaolakganyeng ne ke naganne gore re tla bona Cape Town City e tla ka kwano ka ko Gauteng go tla gaisana ne re lebile jalo ene Emil Veltman wa rialo ba re tlhapi ga o e ntsha mo mogobeng o isa ko lewatleng e kgona go thuma botoka wa nkutlwa le tsikhen
Lena ke a utlwa. And of course, we will be back then after the break with a VIP player. So do not go anywhere and come back with us soon after this.
Satati Sefo, Walagasha. Satati Sefo, Walagasha.
So welcome back then to football on 216, and as promised, I'm joined by the MVP all the way from Rio de Janeiro. It is Coach Costa Rica, and of course, none other than the one and only MVP. He is the General Manager of Highlands Park, and it is Mr. Thierry Mulonzo. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Evening.
How are you, sir? Now, I want to, of course, speak to the general manager of Highlands Park. So can you just perhaps introduce yourself, tell us who you are, when you joined Highlands Park, and what exactly is your role at Highlands Park FC?
I'm Thierry Mulonzo, the general manager of Highlands Park Football Club. The story with me with the club started from long time ago. I've joined the club in 1998.
Ooh.
I joined the club as a soccer player, so I've just evolved into the club, in the club from playing football. Then I became the assistant coach captain of the club for 2 years. And then I became eventually with Coach Owen Dagama. That's where the story starts. As is a team, as a player and assistant with Owen Dagama for 3 years. That's from 1999 to 2003. Then as the team won promotion to the PSL, then I became a full-time assistant coach for a solid 9 years in the PSL. Then as I was the assistant coach, I was also the team manager. I was playing the 2 roles with the club until the club got sold to the Royal Bafokeng. Then I stayed with my chairman, Mr. Larry Brookstone, for all these years since he discovered me, Mr. Larry Brookstone, playing football. Then he brought me into the team, and then the story is very long. I've become like a furniture into the club. So I've done all the roles that possible in the club. To this time now, I'm the general manager. I lead the team in all spheres. I'm just the second in charge behind the chairman, Mr. Larry Brookstone. I touch here, I touch there. So administratively and also, assisting with the actual coach now, Alan Fries, in helping the team to reach the level that we were before. So that's virtually what I am in the club.
Well, a beautiful story that is for you to have given us an evolution of both yourself as well as the team from your playing days to now in a general manager position. But of course, Coach Costarino has a couple of questions then for you from a coaching perspective. And I think that's exactly what the youngsters that tune into this show and that are in GDL and aspiring footballers would perhaps want to know.
No, for sure. And it's a pleasure, Coach. It's a pleasure to be here with you. This means that I'm also moving somewhere. But being part of the furniture, the story is fascinating, Coach.
Yeah.
I'm now, while you are still elaborating there, I'm thinking 1998. What was I doing in 98? But Coach, man, it's fascinating. I just want us maybe to touch on a bit about your development teams, because I see Highlands Park, and they came in my backyard and we're not going to discuss that. But we competed, and just maybe to tell us more about your developmental structures. How can a kid maybe somewhere in Alex or somewhere in Sebokeng, how can they dive into your team and maybe get into getting the opportunity to play there?
We have an open policy. We, as in our website of the club, is my name and my cell phone number. So scouts and managers, they do contact us from all over. You call, then we facilitate. I do the facilitation. Sometimes they pass with our development manager, which is a lady by the name of Chantel Wiseman. They will call, or they call directly to the coach directly, but it needs, first of all, to be scrutinized. You give us, your background, where you played before. That is from under 15, because under 13 we kind of open, because that's where, boys come from schools, sometimes just from the street. They haven't played football before. But as from under 15, we scrutinize, but they come through the test as a normal trial, and we always have the whole set of the coaches from the under 13 to under 19 even if he's a trial for under 15 or under 17, so that we have a lot of eyes, you know, and a view, because the boy needs to fit into the ethos of the club. And the ethos of the club with Highlands Park, we do not look for how good the technical part of the player, but we strictly look at how fast, how strong, how the boy is.
Okay.
So that's that way we concentrate, and then if the boy fits into that frame, then
he can be
considered as a Highlands Park player, because we don't believe on big name players. We believe in team players. So the boy might not be that much skillful, but you can see the strength of the boy, you can see the speed of the boy, then we say we can work on that and make him become something. We go into in the past with a lot of players that we have produced from all these years. That way we emphasize.
So basically the main emphasis is sticking to the ethos of the club.
The ethos of the club, we do not change that.
That's fascinating. Coach, another thing, man, I'm a player at home there, and I'm sitting and definitely listening to what you're saying. But there is a sale that happened, as you've mentioned before, that the team was sold. So now I'm concerned that am I going to a place whereby I'll be getting that sense of competition to actually compete, to play in the higher division of South African football? Does the team have ambitions to go back, or what is happening? Like I'm speaking on behalf of these players, because you know there are a lot of questions, and these questions, I know they are uncomfortable, but we need to face them, Coach.
Reality is the thing, because it's an open book. I mean, if you sell, we have gone through that 2 times, and from the beginning of this club, starting from the level, the 4th tier of football in South Africa, go to the PSL, so get to that, go back to the PSL, from that level, go back to the PSL. So this is the 3rd time that we do that. So, and nothing has changed as far as the leadership is concerned. You know, the 2 main guys are still there in Mr. Brett Kaftal and Mr. Larry Brookstone. Those are people that are guiding the ship. And then we might have sold, but in that structure, in that frame, it's still the same people, meaning that, you know, we know the trend. We've been there. We tried it in the past, we were successful. We tried again, we were successful. Indeed, Highlands Park doesn't belong where we are now. Highlands Park doesn't belong. That's why, as I was having your conversation offset, as I said, that we finished second twice in the ABC Motepe, right? And for us, second position is not good enough. It's there to win so that we go back where we belong. Because the structure, as much as the team is now in the lower division, but we run the team as professional, then I will say second to none. As far as the structure and the professionalism, how we get things done by Highlands Park. We keep the same level. Obviously, financially, it's not going to be the same, but because we have almost the same people. I have people that we've been working with now for the past 25 years. They're still there. People that are there for the past 20 years. Coaches that have been there from the development, the thing there for the past 15, 16, 7 years. They are there. So, meaning that they know as well, they've taken that road before, and they know where the potholes are. They know where, you know, where to turn, even with their eyes closed. So that is actually the guidance of Mr. Larry Brookstone that really steered the ship into that direction.
Well, I love the points that you mentioned, Coach. I mean, you speak about the talent identification part as well as the overall structure of the team and the caliber at which you still want to uphold despite playing in a lower division. And of course, you mentioned players or other coaches that have been there for plus minus 20 years, and they come with a lot of experience. But if there's a young coach at home who has a great insight of the beautiful game and perhaps knows some of the things that maybe Highlands Park on an under 13 level can do differently tactically, what's the measures that you go as far as getting your coaches? Like, is there specific qualification, and which part of the qualification should they have? Because truth be told is that South Africa is very rich when it comes to the footballing space, be it players, be it coaches, be it analysts. But I don't think a lot of people are given the opportunity. And if they are willing to go an extra mile, most times than not, they are often misinformed. So what is the one thing that Highlands Park is really looking for, and how do they then bring about new talent? And of course, there's like the furnitures of the club, like yourself, who have been there for quite some time, but in order to drill in a new experience and a new mind and a fresh, I think we spoke of Seth and Coach Costarina said that the football is developing and it's navigating to a fairly new one where we've got now a false nine who hardly touches the ball, like Usfiso would say. But in terms of the coaching and tactical abilities, how does Highlands Park rather than drive that force in making sure that the caliber still remains the same, but of course with new and fresh ideas?
I think that is a very, very complex question, ma'am. I would like to navigate it in this way. First of all, we mostly concentrate on our former players.
Yes.
If you look at our coaches in development and anything, we concentrate mostly on our former players. We take them to courses, we take them, the team pays for them so that they educate themselves, so that they would know the latest trend, you know. And our chairman, Mr. Larry, co-chairman, Mr. Larry Brookson, is very, very, very demanding on that. The coach needs to come and do the latest trend, to come and they need to know what is happening in Manchester United. They need to know what's happening in Manchester City. They need to know what's happening in Barcelona, because we have, you know, I would not call it seminars, but, you know, some meetings that goes to that kind of space.
Yes.
Where coaches needs to get to, you know, tell. You know, you stand there like a kind of a presentation as to, okay, what is the latest trend? Why you think that Manchester United is playing that way? Why you think that Real Madrid is playing that well? What is the trend? What makes that coach to be successful? You need to come and talk and tell us so that we also understand that, okay, you going with the flow where the football is going. As far as the coaches, you ask about the young coaches that are coming, so we're still forming them. But we concentrate, as I started from the beginning, saying that our former players, you know, we give them a lot of chances. So they come as assistants, they come, you know, and we get them into those kind of space so that they understand, first of all, football. Because if you have somebody that is leading the team, chiefly the youngsters, you know, and he doesn't have really the full understanding of football, then how is it going to, you know, kind of pass that to the young boys? Hence, we emphasize in education, of which the club pays for, and then they go and then come back and then, you know, yes, bring the new trend. But we are up there, and my coach here said there is no team in development in GDL. When you go and play Highlands Park, you think that, no, we're gonna win. There is no team. And as I say, no team. You name them, they know that the day they play Highlands Park, they know that they're coming for...
I mean, that's why I am wreathed in red. I knew you were coming, so I had to be prepared.
I see there's a resemblance there. But Coach, man, you're touching on a delicate matter here when you speak about progression. And I mean progression in a sense of player progression, in a sense of coaching progression. But now my question here is based more on a coaching progression. You are emphasizing more on bringing former players as coaches, but now progressing them in terms of getting them to these seminars or workshops and getting them to present these modern topics that are being addressed outside.
Yes.
Right. So I'm more fascinated to find out as to how are they adapting, because in most cases you'll find that a lot of coaches would rather go scouting, or some of them would rather go a different route than coaching, because this coaching profession is definitely undervalued. So in your own words or in your own perspective, how can you say that coaching progression in modern football is easier or is made easier by Highlands Park than any other team?
To say made easier, I mean, that's a difficult one, eh? We get the coaches to, you know, since we take them to educate themselves, right? But we also not focusing only on the coaching as coaching. You stand there, you know. We take them in the managerial position to get them in a performance analysis, because we still believe in that. We take our players that just coming out of the system, you know, we cover the whole range in football, because it's not only that you're standing there as a coach, okay? The progression in life, we say that we can see the potential in such person, we see the potential in that person, and ours also part of that, but long time ago, that we guided to that direction. So it's not only the coaching as we get in the progression of as to development a human being, because sometimes you say that, you know, you're taking him as a coach or as but we're trying to develop human beings,
a holistic human,
human beings to become really responsible people, you know, in the society.
I see.
Is large. So it's not only coaching. We take some. I'm not gonna put the names now, but in to become an analysis, to become a scout. You know, we getting some of the coaches that I think that become photographers.
Yes.
You know, sport photographers. They are there in all say, you know, level of football, not only coaching, because coaching is a very, very small space for you really to penetrate. But when you get the whole range of getting people to be scouts, to be, you know, performance analysis, to become and physical trainers. We do that as well. Okay. We preparing one of them that we're gonna send Sunia in Barcelona to go to Barcelona for the physical strengthening of players. So we're taking one to go to Barcelona to study that, because there are some courses, you know, short term that you do. So we're getting holistically in whole sphere of football, and wherever that potential that you show, that's where we you know, we guide you into.
Sure.
I mean, Coach, you speak about Highlands Park, and honestly, from what you're saying, from what we see on our screens, they are a well-oiled machine. So a big shout out to then Super Sport Schools for giving us the general manager himself. And I just want to speak based on your experience and your importance, rather your awareness of how important it is to have a well-developed coach. I know Highlands Park, like you said, are very stern in terms of like getting, or rather making sure that they have great coaching people within their team. But do you think overall in development football that there is enough support for coaches?
There's not really enough support. I mean, we need to be really frank in that. There's not enough support for the coaches. And, you know, sometimes people, they try to fend for themselves. You know, they hustle, you know, to get them in the whole picture of football. I think we need to do a little bit more. We need to do a little bit more. We need to try to encourage, you know, coaches, you know, to get young coaches to get to where they think. And because sometimes, and most of the time in many teams, it's just the finance backing is not there. They let a coach, a young coach, you know, these coaches, they don't come cheap.
Yeah, true.
They do not come cheap. You know, they let you fend for yourself. You go and look for money to try to get to that, level. And then the team say, okay, educate yourself, make yourself sellable. You know, you sell yourself, and then you come. And that's why, as Highlands Park, we do not believe in that. The minute we see potential, we say the thing that we back you up to get what you need. We pay for those courses, and then I will, try to get most of the teams, if they can take that route, because it's very important to get people to where they are, and then from there they can fly by themselves. But as a child, in life, the child by himself doesn't have the ability, to walk and start running. But with the barking, with the thing of the parent, then you get to touch him, falls a little bit and then falls a little bit until then they can, start walking properly. So that kind of support is not yet really from the whole structure of football that we need to get there.
I think that was a good question, Kamu. And lastly, from myself, Coach, I just wanted to find out, man, because the reason why I asked that question, now I see it's not difficult because you did answer it very, very well. When I was doing my Dipalo, as we call it here on the show, my analysis, I checked that Highlands Park is conceding less goals. Highlands Park is conceding less goals, so defensively, you guys are sound, very, very sound. And I can definitely tell you that because we also struggled to actually score, but that's a story for another day. But my question comes here, Coach, is that since you've spoken about Highlands Park backing the coaches and everything, I think you also answered it a bit when you said you guys are supporting your staff in terms of taking them to workshops and courses, and now there's one going to Barcelona for that strength and conditioning course. In terms of performance analysis, you guys work with analysts, I believe, and a coach out there who is actually doing this for themselves, and can they be able to multitask, because this is not an easy task. Talking first-hand experience, this is not an easy task, and working with performance analysts, working with strength and conditioning coaches. How easy or how is it difficult for your coaches to adapt to such a system?
All right. To ask for my coaches, it's not really difficult because as from the word go, they start with it already.
Okay.
Because we have a performance analysis for under 19, for under 13, for the development. So there is somebody that is there as the performance analysis for that level. Under 13, under 15, under 17, under 19. Okay, the first team, of course, get it all. All right. With us, I would not really talk about other teams at this level. But with us, we encourage that. So we have, video sessions where because sometimes, children, they grasp the information easily for when they see.
Yes.
So then the leadership under Mr. Larry Brookstone emphasize on taking the boys into the classroom. Hence, we need a performance and analysis, a person that is there. We have the one for development, and then we have the one for the seniors separate. The coach will not do anything come Monday before you go to the classroom. We have a video room by the club. That is there. You go, first of all, you discuss, you show exactly what happened visually, because that's where the boys capture it. You do that, you see, you did, what you did, it was. But at training, we did this and it. You really, really be particular, meticulously in that regard. Then the boys, they start grasping it. When you come to the question that you asked about, we don't consider, that is actually the ethos of our club. The ethos of Highlands Park, from development to thing, if you don't concede, you don't lose the match. So players know that if you don't concede, you don't lose the match. Hence, we emphasize in the defense because we believe that a goalkeeper himself get at least 40, 45, 50% of the club.
Yes.
The goalkeeper. And then when you put him with his defense, then they got 65, 70% of the club. Then because defense and the good goalkeeper win you leagues. Attacks win you matches.
Exactly.
So hence we do not concede much.
Well, that was a great conversation then to have with you, gentlemen. Highlands Park, seemingly a well-oiled machine, and I think it's evident in what we see on our screens. And I think if they have yourself as the furniture, together with me, repping right here in studio, they are bound to excel in greatness. So a big shout out to both you guys, gentlemen. And of course, thank you for your time and joining us right here on Super Sports Schools. But that marks the end then of this segment. We'll be back right after the break with the usual lineup. It is Lebzik and Wave defensively, the Mel Bestie up front in the midfield, and well, our super striker, it is Mr. Gauteng.
Sefo, Waragasa. Sacha Sefo, Waragasa.
And we're back right here on Football on 216. An interesting conversation we had just before the break with the general manager of Highlands Park, together with our resident coach, Coach Costa. But now it is all systems go. The usual lineup is back, and it is the Lebzik and Wave defensively. Midfield, it is the male bestie himself, Sfisogu Shemsimang, and of course our super striker, Mr. Gauteng Ura, who's now our number 9.
It was 9. It was 9. Create some opportunity. A defensive striker.
Cecil will troll you for the longest time. Now, of course, gentlemen, we spoke about the importance of the fixtures that, of course, partaked in on Saturday as well as on Sunday. And we look forward to the new week, exciting fixtures this Saturday. And I think the biggest one is that Kaizer Chiefs as well as TS Galaxy. And I want you, Lebza, to take us through that under-13 fixture.
wa bona ha o bua ka Kaizer Chiefs o nantsa like o lebelle ko pele bana le ene Mosimane Ratlegile. He's one of the top goal scorers, Ratlegile Pitso. O latelwa ke Inganathi Saliwa le ene joint le ene Mosimane 9 goals ba le babedi. Gona le jalo ko Mamelodi Sundowns ke lebetse ke male ka bana le striker ko Sundowns ke mo lebetse gore ke male la ke tla mo gopolana go etsa ke tla mo gopolana go etsa ka jalo under 13 Chiefs ga se latlhegile
Yes.
gotlhelele Mohamed Bamji go sengwe se leng gore wa sa apaya ibile sa butswa go Kaizer Chiefs fela malaba re buile re bana le ba tshameke ba le bannye ba le gore a bana more than 20 players ka jalo le yone eo ke akanya gore ba tle go tsama ba lapa
Yes.
hana go ntse tsamantsa like fela tshwantse we lebele Chiefs ka mo go e fomileng ka teng. TS Galaxy
And I mean, you speak about Kaizer Chiefs, their overall dominance across all divisions. So it is expected, but I think it's also surprising for the viewers to have an under-13 side be just as dominant as you've mentioned. And of course, the under-15s as well will be playing. So take us through the under-17 fixture of both Kaizer Chiefs as well as TS Galaxy.
So into sizoyibona kakhulukazi masingabheka ama-under 17 sibonile ukuthi ayabuya kwiform yawo sibonile ukuthi uLisiho njengoba sikhuluma ngoLisiho Hlophe uMbesumo uSdizo ukora amagoli nini nawo 2 ayabuya kwiform yawo khona uMukokosi babuyile le pheshe khona lapha nabo Royce so abo Royce mfethu another day another free kick uyazi ukuthi makuyi free kick igol le Royce intransi emanzi into imonto ebizayo but then masisibeka kakhulukazi lapha na kwi-TS Galaxy khona bophumba TS Galaxy uyibheke lapha na ku-midfielder lapha kakhulukazi so kusho khona ukuthi abo Kamuhelo lapha uKaslami Kaslakho kumele basebenze lapha ka TS Galaxy banomzimba and futhi yakhumbula bedlala nayo lapha iSuper Sport United bazi bagcina befaka uDeva Onchieng ukuthi azame ukuyovimba lapha iTS Galaxy. TS Galaxy inswempu kakhulu so leyo game leyo draw angasi.
Interesting.
Bona ora o sheba ya.
Ke gona le sengwe se leng gore gantsa bua yana se feta tlhaloganyo ya me se leng gore ra se itse re le ka kwano gore ne ke batla botsa ka motshameki mongwe o ka fa Kaizer Chiefs ka bana a ona gara gore a o santse na tla ba le teng mo mafelong a nabe ke khotsa e se tse chaile khotsa re tlamela gore re ye ko karolong ya bobedi ya setla
ya ngicela ukuthi mhlambe lo kya kwamanje sesekhona uzobe khona bathinta lapha eCenter
amakasi afana.
And speaking of Amakasafanayo, on Saturday it is the East Rand Athletic Academy going against Highlands Park. We just had the general manager talking about the strength of the side. And I think with the previous week, well, yesterday they played at home. Do you think that going into that encounter, they perhaps have an upper hand, especially having gotten some insight rather from the general manager?
wa bona o bua ka Highlands Park ke utlwile bua sekgowa mo ba bua ba re ethos ethos ke galanyana mona bona ha ke re ke a sheba mo Google mo lentsa la ke ne ke ntse ke lebela ke rona sekgwari se itse sentle ha ke re ke lebela ethos e re bua ka culture ka mantswe a mang Highlands Park ba na le culture e leng gore ba etseng ba tshameking ba bona ka jalo ke akanya gore ka mokgwa e beileng ka teng ke akanya gore motshameko o tlang ba tle go dira ka natla thata wena ntsala ke ka gonne Highlands Park ra ba itse ke gale ba le teng a re o joinile Highlands Park ka 1998 nna ke o monyana was born ka 1998 ka jalo ya go bontsha gore monna o ke monole gore ke mositse thata
Kana le go stopeng.
ko ro a dula ha le go stop ka jalo that culture ke akanya gore ya go ba lwela mo motshamekong yo tla
Wena ka mo santse o le mo makasi wa fana ga ke lebella mo di-fixtureng tsa rona tsa la matlhatso re na le di-fixture tse tharo kasi versus Sabapo bona re na le Highlands Park ya ko Sabapong e tsamaya le yone Eastern Athletic Club ya ga ke tsaya ke lebella Panorama e na le Rosina Sedibane Rosina kasi Panorama ke Sabapo Randburg AFC ya amogela jalo Resa so wa bona gore amakasi a ya fana a na le di-Sabapo ka this weekend.
So it's basically Upuku versus the ground.
kanjalo.
And winner takes all.
Yeah, iba
Because-
kanjalo. And mina into enginokuyibona lapha ikakhulukazi kuma games akanjalo. Abajita kakhulukazi laba lapha esilungu laba base yabo laba setshanini. Beza ngamandla, bayajima. Ikasi for example ngeke ngazama ukubukela iCatchers Hyper Eastern ngeke ngayibukela. Ikasi nawe uyazi ikasi kunama player amnandi. Aba player amnandi kakhulu awanawo umzimba, amnemzimba esinale nowami. Bathanswempu ngeenyawo. But then ke lapho kuzodepend ukuthi ajimile enough ukuyobhekana no Panorama. Panorama siyayazi bakhulu. Siyayazi Highlands Park sibonile khona bo Muditambi. Yabo. So into kanjalo. So lapho kumele uhlakaniphe ke lapho. Mawu skillful ube skillful ukwazi ukushelela phakathi kwabantu. But then Eastern lo buyibuza wena kamnayo lapha eHighlands Park. I feel ngathi iHighlands Park izoqhubeka nalomqiqo wayo wokuwina. Yayo isizwe umqiqo wokuwina izolokhu iqhubeka nje kanjalo nokuwina. But then Amanda 19 we-Eastern Antswempu wabheka.
And I love how you mention the structure and perhaps the tactical awareness that you need to have when you face your opponents. And Ora, if you look at the game between Mamelodi Sundowns as well as Sevens Academy, on paper, it looks as though Mamelodi Sundowns would be the team to beat Sevens Academy. But having watched Sevens Academy, what are some of those tactical things you'd want them to fix?
Ke le kutlwa le bzikin we fa ro ba tlhogo mo stompong a le na kae ba tlhogo mo stompong this time ke bona Sundown o tla tsamaya collected dintlha ka fo gonne Sevens re bone mo malobeng re le ko lebaleng la bone ba tshameka le School of Excellence under 13 ya Sevens na ba ikeletsa fela ka School of Excellence mare ke nagana gore School of Excellence under 13 ya bone e simolotse go le tharinyana mo setlheng seno ba nile le ditshokolonyana mare under 13 ya Mamelodi Sundowns ba tlo ba bontsha motshameko if Sevens ba nagana gore ba tlo nosa dino tsa ba di nisteng kgatlhana le School of Excellence mo malobeng ga ke bone e tlwaetsagala eo ona makabana lo ba Sundowns and ba batsa ba isa ko Klepem mo ga o ye fela o bua o tshwere dintlha
Russell time
ga o bue fela bo Russell time o tle bana.
And I mean, we spoke about the importance of the refereeing I remember the first segment. Going into this week, I mean, for our viewers at home, this, of course, will be our very last week of GDL before our break, and we'll be back again in July. So what improvement, and I remember yesterday we spoke to also the official ref, just to like change a couple of words and bring about new ideas. What are some of the things that then you are looking forward to, perhaps in this week?
ke ne ke bua jalo le ene Commissioner Minana le ene ana sa itumela thata ka mogo a boneng ba ka bana ga dira ka teng in terms of refereeing ka jalo ke akanya gore ga batla gone anong wa go ba na thupa le leme gore banna a re direng sentle ka gona bona motshameko ga o tlhaga mo televisioneng bona gaitse diaka motho mo lo mongwe lebeletse tlholo dira le di polls gore re akanya go gapa efeng ba bua batho gore ba itumele ka mogo go refiwang ka teng ka jalo ke a tshepa ka dumela ka tlholo re ra aga ke tshepa gore ka ba utlwena re ba tlhere ba kgalemetse gompieno ha ba tsena ba go tsena ka motshameko montle thata kana jalo go tsamaisa motshameko montle thata ke motshameko mogolo Kaizer Chiefs TS Galaxy ke a tshepa ebile ka dumela gore ditlhopha tse dintsi di a tshameka di le dintsi tsotlhe di a tshameka sentle ka gonne a ke ra go ikhutsa ka jalo ke a tshepa ka dumela gore o buile le bone ebile ba le bantsi di-match commissioners le bone ke akanya bana le mo le ba tlhakana teng ba buisana mme ke a tshepa ka solofela gore go na le motshameko menate.
Well, perfect. And just to spice it up towards the end, I'll put you guys on the spot and predictions are underway. Predictions are underway. No, the predictions are underway. So I'll start with Ura, Swiso, and then the Lebzikin Wave. Then we'll go in that order. So East Rand, Highlands Park. Ura.
Eastern Highlands Park
Under 19s.
Highlands Park.
Under 19s, Highlands
If
Park.
Highlands Park, yeah.
Under 15s,
Under 15, awine phone Highlands Park is all. So still Highlands Park.
under 13s.
Manare thing is 21 nyana ba.
And well, for perhaps the under 17s, I'll say a draw. Because,
Okay,
Vivid in red.
Under 17 Eastern, because Highlands Park is drawing a drum. So definitely Eastern.
that's interesting. Joburg City versus Wits.
Under
13.
Joburg City, Wits. Ke tla efa Wits.
Sifiso Kuhle, under 17.
Amara Lebza, ayikho nzima leyo nto lo Joburg City will win that one. Ungangibuyisela imali yami kusasa.
Ngizokukhumbuza.
Uyakhumbula senza i-tax ne-vet. I-Joburg City, i-vet I think basamele batrain ikakhulukazi nabo goalkeeper wakhona. Umfishane yabona. So ayikho nzima uzongikhumbuza unginikeza imali
Uzokhula
yami.
nini manje umuntu umfishane?
Bamtrain. So yeah, mina ngiphe i-Joburg City leyo.
Under 19.
Under 19, Kifa Joburg City.
Joburg City. So Joburg
Kunojali
City.
lapha.
Una le jali mole. Viwe. Wefa Joburg City.
Kifa Joburg City.
Okay.
Well, we'll see. Sunday, sizofonelana sibone ukuthi obambile. And then I think one of the biggest also, Kathoras Hyper versus Supersport United, perhaps Sfiso in the under 17 sides.
Bachita wasekasi Kathoras Hyper ngiyabafrustana ngihlangana nabo always every day ngihlangana nomchita weKathoras Hyper Academy. So mina ngiwagada amazami, but then Supersport United bafethu. I'm saying. But then bafethu now but naniyazi my chance.
Ubuyele kasi ha utswa fo ya
Naniyazi my chance. Ayadlala sibathemba bathi wasekazi, but then under 19 Supersport United definitely izowina. Khona abumanelisi, khona abo Minier, yes sir, besakhala ngayo coach Cross.
Yes.
So under 19 definitely izowina. Okunye nokunye abajida bengacosha lapho nalapho.
The only thing I can disadvantage for Supersport, Kathoras ga ba isa ko Huntersville. Yeah, ka bona batshameki ba Supersport lo pitch ya bumper then e ka ba problem nyana, but Supersport United bafethu wa itlogela nyana.
And I think with the grand fixture then, Kaizer Chiefs versus TS Galaxy. And Lebza, you started with under 13s.
Yeah.
So who are you vouching for? And give me the score on this one, because it's a
Under
big
13.
one. Yes,
Rebecca Mohammed Bamji.
yes.
Yeah. More than 3 goals for by Kaizer Chiefs. Yeah, Rebecca Bamji, gibuile ka musimani, gibuile ka ingana tisaliwa. Edit.
Well, Sfiso, quick, just yes or no. Kaizer Chiefs, TS Galaxy.
Under
Any, under 18.
any. Okay, under 13 obviously Kulumile. Kaizer Chiefs izowina lapho.
Under 19, Ora?
Under 19 ke tla efa jalo sehlopha sa Kaizer Chiefs.
Well, a great show we've had here, gentlemen. Exciting conversations, insightful as well. We had, of course, the general manager of Highlands Park. And I have to then give credit to you guys and thank you for your time. Thank you for making sure that this is a success once more. And of course, our viewers there at home, a big shout out to you. Do not go anywhere. Next week, same time, same place, 6 p.m. right here on Football on 216.
Satya Tsefo, what a